Good afternoon, and thank you all for joining today's Learning Lab. So on today's Learning Lab, we're going to be taking you through how to track non-financial data using statistical accounts. Just before we get started, let me do some introductions and take you through a little bit of housekeeping. So I'm Fiona, I work in the customer success team, and taking us through today's Learning Lab is going to be Shuab, who is one of our Intacct consultants. Housekeeping, the session will be recorded and we will send you a copy of this Learning Lab after the session. Feel free to share that around with colleagues and the team or anyone who wasn't able to make today. And you will notice that your microphones will be muted throughout today's session. There is a question box in the GoToWebinar panel. If you have any questions as we go along, please pop them in there, and there's an opportunity at the end of the Learning Lab. I will read out those questions for you, or you'll be able to take yourself off mute and you can ask us any questions that you've got. Anything that we can't get back to you on, we'll take offline and look into it further and get back to you after the Learning Lab. That's everything from me, so I'm going to pass you over to Shuab.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Fiona, for the introductions. So yeah, the agenda for today is just to set up a GL account and journals for statistical data. And then we'll build some account groups for statistical accounts, and then just showing you a basic standard report or how to build a statistical financial report. Okay. So before you can start tracking non-financial data, you have to set up a statistical account as well as a statistical journal. Okay. So it's fairly easy to set up. It's similar to just creating a normal general ledger account. The journal as well, exactly the same as creating a normal general ledger account. Journal. The only difference would be is the section on the system where you would create these, because they don't fall under the same section. Okay. So I've put in over here just a little path over here where you can go to create statistical accounts, and then over here in green there is as a path for how to create or where to go to create a journal. Okay, and then we'll also do some I've done journal postings on my side, but I'll just show you how the journal postings work with statistical accounts. Okay, then reporting on non-financial data. Essentially, you'll build the account group. So if you are familiar with building account groups for financial reports, it's the same setup, except for the structure type. So I've put a screenshot in over here. The structure type over here, you will change it to statistical accounts. Okay, so that's the only difference. And then I've put in a little path here as well. There is another way to get to this section, which is through reports, to the reports module. Okay. Then I'm just gonna build a statistical financial report, if that's what you can call it. And then we'll also, what we can do with statistical accounts is when you build account groups, you can combine non-financial or statistical accounts as well as normal general ledger accounts in one group by making use of the group of account groups. Okay. So let's have a look in Sage Intacct. And then I'll just ask Fiona to keep an eye on the question box over there. Okay. So the first thing on our list is to create a statistical account. So drop down on your applications, general ledger. Okay. So over here you can see I've got accounts. I've got general ledger accounts. That's where your normal chart of accounts would be. And then you've got a section statistical accounts. Okay. Just click in there. And I've set up some statistical accounts for today's learning lab. So if you just go in to add, okay, so you can see the layout of this is exactly the same or similar to setting up a normal general ledger account. Specify an account number. This, however, is not going to allow you to make use of the same account number as used in the general ledger accounts. Okay, so do leave space. Or what you can do is you can perhaps, if your digit or your length of your account is set to 4, you can add an S in front of it and rather keep it as 3 digits long and one alphanumeric or alpha over there. Okay, just to separate them from each other. Okay, give it a title. Okay, reporting type. So you have your for the period and you have cumulative balance. What this does is, if you were to post any statistical journals, for example, January, February, March, and um, you run a report for that. Let's say you run a report end of March for March only. It will give you the cumulative balance from Jan up until March. For the period over here, it will just give you the balance for March in that case. Okay, you can select a quick start category. However, the currently Sage Intacct doesn't have out of the box statistical reporting. Okay, with this, what you can currently use it as, when you run normal out of the box reports such as your general ledger, you can select the quick start category over there and it will filter the report based on the quick start category, and or you can use just a statistical account to run the report as well. Okay, so you're not limited over here to basically build your own custom financial report. Okay, you can select any required dimensions. Ticking this tick box is exactly the same, or it works the same way as the general ledger account. If I were to tick this, whenever I post to the specific account, it's going to tell me that I do require a department. Okay, once you're done, just click on save. Okay, the next step would be to create a statistical journal. Okay, go to general ledger, setup. Okay, under journals, you've got adjustment, statistical and statistical adjustment. These two you will use for your statistical accounts. Okay, so just click on statistical and then again go in the right hand top right and just say add. So it's going to ask you for a symbol and a title just as it would when creating a normal journal. Okay, when you're done, just click on save. So that's the journal setup. Posting a journal entry to a statistical account. This section would be used for normal journal entry and this section at the bottom would be used for a statistical journal entry. Okay, you can either go into it. Okay, it will give you the journal entries or the journals itself. So we've got headcount, square footage, and a test journal over here. On the right hand side, you can view transactions. Okay, so you can just go in and select add. Select the specific journal you are posting to. Say if you are posting to employee headcount. Okay, select your posting date and then give it a description as well. Okay. In the entries table, you're going to select your statistical account. So obviously, I'm just going to match it up. Employee headcount goes with employee headcount. Specify a department or location if if need be, and then any additional dimensions will be over there. Okay, so unlike with a normal journal entry where you will have to have a debit and a credit side of the posting, with statistical accounts you do not have to have that. You can either just increase it or decrease it. Okay, when you're done with, you can have multiple lines as well. When you're done, just selecting whatever information you need to and just click post at the top of the screen. Okay, so I've done some statistical postings into headcount as well as square footage. Okay, so if you view transactions, I've posted these over here. So I'm just going to go view. Okay, so you can see I've put in a description, I've put in the journal that I'm posting to and the posting date as well. I've got my statistical account here, which matches my journal. It doesn't have to match each other. That entirely depends on you. Okay, I've selected specific departments. The only reason why I did this is so that I can show you how to do different reporting based on dimensions. Okay, and then obviously the location that I'm posting to. And over here I've put in, you can see I've got no decrease, so I've just put in an increase, which means that my account balance would be increasing all the time. If it does decrease, you can populate or post a decrease to that specific account. Okay, I'm just going to click done. I've done the same for the square footage. Okay, I've done some postings there just for today's sorry, just for today's learning lab. Okay, so I'm going to click on done. So the next thing we'll do is to create an account group. Okay, so like I said earlier, you can either access it through general ledger or financial report structures and account groups, or you can go to reporting, setup, and then account groups over there. Okay, it takes you to the same screen. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add those statistical accounts to an account group. Then I'll also do one for a computation. Okay, so I'm just going to name this one, I'm just going to say staff headcount. The reason why I'm using staff headcount and not employee headcount is because they already exist out of the box, an employee headcount quick start category that we can select. So that's an out of the box account group that has already been created, so it's not going to allow me to create any duplicates, so therefore I'll just use staff headcount. Okay, normal balance, so you can see the section is exactly the same as setting up a normal account group using normal general ledger accounts. So I'm just going to leave everything as is for now. Then the structure type, we're going to change that to statistical accounts. Okay, and then we're going to leave it for the period. Okay, then I'm just going to select my employee headcount. Then I'm going to select add. Okay, so you can see this drop down menu over here. It only gives me 3 statistical accounts. It doesn't include my normal general ledger accounts in the list. Okay, I'm done with that. I'm just going to click on save. Okay, then I'm going to create another one called square footage. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. Okay, these lines will automatically populate, and then the same thing I'm going to do over here is statistical accounts, and I'm going to select my square footage statistical account. Click on add and then save. Okay, and then lastly, what I want to do is for my computation one, I want to calculate the square footage used per employee. Okay, so I'm just going to name this square footage per employee. Am I spelling that right? Square footage per employee. Okay. Then over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select computation. Okay, because I want to perform a computation on those 2 accounts that I've created. Okay, search for the account group we've just created, which is staff headcount. Actually, it's other way around. So it will be square footage. Okay, divided by the staff headcount. Okay. Okay, on the right hand side you can round it, so you can see you've got decimal places. Do you want to show it as a number or percentage, and then what do you want your unit to display? Okay, click on save, and now we've got 3 different account groups that we can it's ready to be added to a report. Okay, so I'm just going to duplicate my tab, and it seems to have been frozen out. Okay, there we go. Then I'm going to go to reports, financial reports. Okay, setting up a report is no different to setting up a normal financial report. It's just we're going to select the new account groups that we've selected. Okay, so I'm going to name this report. What can we name it? Let's just say employee headcount. That makes sense. I'm sorry, I'm just brainstorming a proper name. Okay, let's just name it employee I'm just gonna name it square footage per employee. Okay, once you're done with that, click on rows. Okay, now we're going to select our count groups. Okay, so it was staff headcount including report, and it was square footage. Okay, and as well as square footage per employee. Okay, so include that all in the report, click OK. This table will pop up. For these type of accounts where there's only one account or statistical account within the group, I usually change this to summary because it's otherwise it just shows too much lines on the report. It will show the heading of the report, totals, and then it will show the account number and the totals, and then it will say total for that specific group. So that's 3 lines, and I can just look at 1 line because I only got one statistical account in that group. Okay, so I'm going to do that for each and every one of this. Just going to set that to summary. Okay, the next thing you want to do is go to columns. Okay, your first column, of course, will be your account name, and the second column will be defaulted to the actual. Okay. So if we run this report as is, for the current month, as of date is today. If we run that report like that, we can see we've got a staff head count of 5 over there. Okay. I'm just gonna go one back. Okay. If we run it for current year, okay, you can see the preview over there is from the 1st of Jan up until the 31st of December. We can preview that. Okay, so now you can see we've got a head count, a total head count across the company of 48, a square footage of 3,637, and the average square footage per employee would be 75.77. Okay. On the same column, what we can do is we can expand by. So let's expand by department because I know I've posted departments to those journals. So we go department. You can select show as. I would recommend using this one. Okay, it's departments or levels with individual balances. What this will do is it will give you a column for each department that has activity, of course, on it with the individual balances. Okay, so it's not gonna, if you have a parent-child relationship on your departments, it's not going to put that parent and child relationship into one column. Okay, so set that and then just preview that again. Okay, so now I can see for distribution, the department distribution, I've got 17 employees. The square footage of that specific department is 1,500, and the square footage per employee is 88. Okay, so you can see this based on this report, I can make analysis and say for the finance department, I've only got 3 employees over there. The square footage over there is 500, but each employee is using 166.67 square footage, which is quite high. So based on this data over here, I could possibly swap finance and sales. I can move them around in terms of physically in the office space. Okay, so we've got 18 over there compared to 3, and then 500 compared to 437. Okay, and then the last column here is just the total for all departments. Okay, so earlier I mentioned that you can mix normal financial groups with statistical accounts, and I'll show you how to do that in a bit. Okay, so all you need to do is go back to your setup your report writer, go to reports. Okay, select the account group. Okay, so I've set up already an account group. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the gross profit for each department and each employee. Okay, so I'm just gonna search for the gross profit group, which already exists. Okay, and I'm gonna include that in the report, and I want that to be at the top of my report. Okay, I'm gonna select save, and then again over here, what I want to do is I want to set it to a summary because I just want to see the total. Okay, you can just click this little expand over there, and it will automatically just set it to summary. Okay, if we preview that now, oops, sorry, I realized my postings is a bit behind, so I'm just going to move this to December 2024. Okay, and it should appear. Okay, so now I've got gross profit per department. Okay, what I'm missing here is gross profit per employee. Okay, so what we're going to do in that case is we're going to create an account group, another computation account group. So go back to your account groups, go add, and then just give it a name. So I'm just going to say gross profit per employee. Okay, I'm going to leave it as debit, and then I'm going to change this to computation, and then again over here I'm going to select my gross profit, gross profit divided by the employee headcount, which is staff headcount. Okay, and then I'm going to click on save. Okay, on my report writer, I'm going to go to rows. Okay, I'm going to select my account group that I've just created, so that would be gross profit per employee. Okay, and I'm going to include that in the report. I'm going to say okay, and then again over here I don't want to see a detailed level, I'm going to just summarize it. I'm going to view the live report, and we can see over there we've got square footage used per employee per department. Okay, and we've got the gross profit per employee per department, and we can see that across over there. Okay, so that's just an example of how you can do your or build your reports out depending on your requirements as a business. You can go ahead and use this as a starting point, and obviously you can be creative and combine your statistical accounts or statistical reports and your normal financial reports to perform basic or even complex analysis based on these over here. Okay. I think that's it from me. There's nothing else from my side. Essentially, the reports, the setup of it is basically the same as setting it up using normal general ledger account. So build your account groups and set up your report exactly the same as you would with your normal general ledger accounts. Okay, I think that's from me. Do we have any questions? I don't see any questions in the box.
I'm just going to also check now. No questions have come in at the moment.
No yeah.
We will give it a minute just in case anybody wants to take their microphone off mute. You'll be able to do that now, and you can ask any questions that you have. So we'll just give that a moment for anyone to ask any questions. I don't think there are any questions have come in at the moment. So if we just pop to the next slide, if you do have any questions that come to you that you've got to follow up on, then you can contact me using the email address that's on screen at the moment. Thank you all for joining today. I hope you found the session useful. If you have any feedback on the session, or if you have any suggestions for future sessions that you'd like to see, then please do also drop me an email. We do appreciate any feedback that you can give us on these sessions, and we welcome any ideas on future topics that you'd like to see. It's quite difficult putting an agenda together sometimes of what sessions people would like to see. So if you can give us some suggestions, that would be great. Our next learning lab is going to be on the 19th of June, and it will be run by one of our support team, and we will be taking you through frequently asked questions. So it'd be great to see you all on there. You'll look out for the invitation for that learning lab that will be coming out to you very shortly. For anything else, my email's on screen. Please do drop me a message, and I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks, Shuab, for putting on a great learning lab, and we look forward to seeing you all on the next one. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.